Well, friends, that was one blessed worship service here at the church yesterday, wasn't it? If I'm doing my math right, that was the largest gathering we've had since we've come back together here with our outdoor services. Certainly one of the largest, if not the largest. And again, I'm not a numbers guy, really, as you know, but I was gripped by Kevin DeYoung's word a while back, where he just reminded us, listen, one of the motivations, or at least one of the causes for celebration about numbers of people, is that numbers stand for people. And that's what we're counting. We're saying, wow, look at how many people were here. Look at the people who have been away from our church family for so long. And as we start to see your faces again, you just need to know that, especially on behalf of the leadership, it's really, really encouraging. And so praise God for that, for folks coming. Very grateful again for Larnie and Andrea for making the extra effort, which they certainly did, to prepare some more worship music for us 2 weeks in a row, and I was very appreciative of that. The other thing is that as we come to these outdoor services and seek not to take our grounds for granted, that we have this outdoor space, we have this large parking lot. The other part of it is what you see behind me is this just wonderfully groomed yard, and all of this area back here is ours at the church, and of course all the way down to the volleyball court and everything. And I just want to thank Errol McDonald for taking the time to jump on the ride-on mower and not just do part of it, but all of it. And the interesting thing that he was telling us was that at the end of him taking the time to cut all the grass on the entire grounds, just as he finished, he said the lawnmower stopped cutting. And he thinks it was just probably a little bit backed up with the amount of grass that there was, and so he just had to let it rest for a little bit. But it didn't stop until the job was done. And you know, that's just a wonderful metaphor for us to remember that in God's kind providence to us here at a church, that we've continued to have people who have not stopped, and they've not stopped working until the job's been done. Certainly there's been a number of key people that are doing that regularly on Sunday mornings, but in particular I notice it at the end of the service. It's when a number of the young folks and even a number of our visiting friends will come, and they know that everything that's out has to be broken down and put back into the church, and to be done in a relatively orderly way. We are using the church building on Wednesday evenings for prayer meeting, and you know, it's just exciting to see that. And you know, I want to thank you again on behalf of the leadership, because when we started this outdoor services, one of the things that we were concerned about was, were we going to have enough people who were going to do what needed to be done? Sometimes churches can be great starters, but we're not great at persisting and prolonging our efforts, because you may have heard this, and I've certainly even said this about myself. Well, I've done my part. You know, it's time for someone else to step in, and then the same. All that means is that the same number of people just gets reduced, but the work doesn't. So it takes more time and more effort from less people. Usually, when someone steps away, it doesn't cause someone else to step up. It's just that those who are already doing it have more work to do. But to see people just be jumping in, especially tearing down the chairs and the audio system and the tents and everything, again, I just found myself really grateful for that. And you know, the interesting thing is, I was listening to the service a little bit to see how it went yesterday on our recording. And I'm out here at the church now, and I know partly we can hear the 401 in the background, but there's this incredible hum or buzz that sounds like it's right on a wire. My wife was listening to the service yesterday, and she said, you know, what's that buzzing in the background? And as soon as I got out of the car here this morning, I heard it. And I don't know if it's crickets or cicada, how do you say them? But it's some kind of insects. And there must be just millions of them out here. And it sounds just like it's something that's man-made, but it's actually the sound of God's creatures. And you know, one of the things that I think we need to realize and remind ourselves of every once in a while is that Psalms like Psalm number 8 and Psalm 19, that speak about the glory of God being seen and understood in creation is when the creation is operating the way the Creator has designed it to work, that the design is pointing back to the designer and the creation to the Creator, that when the creation is sounding like this, it is the sound of God being glorified. And that's why for me it's so exciting out here on an outdoor grounds that we have here at the church, to hear the people of God praising Him, specifically in the sense that we're doing what God has designed us to do. And that might be lost on us every once in a while, that maybe the sermon's not what we preferred, or the music is not exactly the way we wanted it to go, or those wouldn't have been the songs we would have chosen, or the order of the service, or the focus of the prayer, whatever it might be. Maybe I didn't get the seat under the tree and it was too warm, or I had to go get my own chair rather than someone bringing it out for me. But just being out here, there's something for us to recognize and give thanks for, that we're operating according to the design of God for us as His people. And so, I'm just reflecting on this Monday morning. I'm a bit of a nostalgic, reflective guy, as you know, and I'm grateful this morning. I'm grateful for God for bringing you here to worship. And in particular, as we've been considering how we can pray with integrity to God, one of the things about praying with integrity, we've talked about it in terms of our own honesty before the Lord. And one of the things, and one of the ways we can be honest, is that, Lord, I'm just grateful. I'm just thankful. I am glad that we were able to be together. As Errol was quoting yesterday in Psalm 122, I was glad when they said to me, let us go into the house of the Lord. Now we're beside a house, the building, and certainly God doesn't dwell in the building of Downsview any more than He dwells in the particular courtyard here. God's omnipresence, God really is everywhere. However, when we are gathering together as God's people here at the church, there's just something uplifting and special. And I wish I could speak to all of you for as long as I get to speak with a few people, but these conversations about the Lord and about His kindness, and what that psalm said about how we should pray before the Lord and how encouraging that can be, and seeing people not just showing up, but praising up. I think it's one of the lyrics in one of the songs I listen to, praise up, and praising up the Lord. And I tell you, friends, you need to know that you really do make a difference when you're here, which also means you make a difference when you're not here. And sometimes those are really obvious reasons why you can't be here. People are working, people are away, people are not well. And there are times that, we can make a little more effort and just say, all right, let's go. Because being together here at Downsview Baptist Church for these worship services, boy, that's just such a great way to spend the Lord's Day. And again, to live in cooperation with, as it were, with the design of our great designer. And so I just, again, want to thank you this morning. I want to encourage you to keeping on with the Word and hang in there. Our opportunities to come together are just going to continue to increase in the coming weeks, Lord willing. And so pray that today would be a good day in the Lord for you. Cheers, friends.